a lot easier if there's two years, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another show of the roll call. Give just a second here. Let's try to get this going here. Let me see. There you go. All right, welcome everybody to another live stream. Welcome to the show, Roll Call Podcast. Today's guest we have a legend within the hobby, a legend from England, from the borough, John Wanless. John, welcome.
Hi, hi, Jerry. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
There's Ray. What's going on, Ray?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good evening, Ray. We thought
It's
thought
an evening.
you got lost.
Oh man, I went outside and it's shucks, it's almost 80 degrees yesterday. We're not used to that. So and of course you find everybody needs water all of a sudden. So
Yeah,
anyway.
that's all. I was telling John. I went out there, flew 4 kids, and man, I got burnt out. It was just so hot early in the morning. I was like, man. Yeah,
Yeah, well, we're into what we call the dog days of summer. So,
yeah.
starting to get hot. How are you, John? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm fine, Ray. Thanks. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah. John was like, "We're gonna, I'm gonna give him a rough time right now for being late." Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the problem with working from home, right?
Yeah.
If you'd have worked for me, Ray, I'd have sacked you.
Well, for those of you that don't know John Wanless, John Wanless is a veteran flyer from England, from the borough England, and he's one of the legends out there with top notch pigeons, man. Some of the best rollers that I've ever seen were at his house, and as you can see, look at he's right there, right in his loft, beautiful loft. One of the, I mean, I came back from England wanting what John Wanless had right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Ray.
yeah.
Jerry.
So John,
Jerry.
why don't you give us a little bit of your history of how'd you get started with these rollers?
Just like everybody else, Jerry, I had them from a kid. Where I was born, there used to be a racing, what we call a racing park opposite my house. My uncle used to race short distance racing pigeons from there. They used to race from a mile from the loft. They're called milers. So that was the first sort of time I was ever, involved with pigeons. But he also had shorebirds at his house, fancy pigeons,
Mm-hmm.
So I was around his house more or less every day from 8-year old onwards. And then when I was around about 9 or 10, he built me my own loft. And I've had pigeons ever since.
So when did you get into actual rollers, Birmingham rollers?
It was in the 70s, Ray. I mean, we called them rollers, but in the 70s in Middlesbrough, then lots of people had rollers, but you never seen them roll. They were really glorified tumblers. But they used to fly, kits of 20 odd. But I can never remember seeing any of them roll properly. That was sort of early 70s. Well, late 60s, early 70s.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then probably around about 73, 74, that's when we first started seeing, the first proper rollers in Middlesbrough. As I say, lots of people had rollers, but I never ever seen them roll properly. Not like what we'd call rollers. They were just sort of deepish tumblers, if. I think they were buying birds from the Midlands, and they were sort of sending them the rubbish up here.
Yeah. At that time you're in the borough.
I was born and bred in Middlesbrough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've heard about your family. I hear a lot of people talk about it, talk about your actual family. What is your what makes your family? What does it go back to, John?
So originally in the 70s, I had roll downs. Everybody in Middlesbrough kept rollers for the speed, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up going to the extreme where we bred lots of roll downs, and we would breed off roll downs just for the speed. So I had a cockbird that I could trace him back to those roll down pigeons. But my main stock pigeon is I bred him in '94. He's known as a 45 cock. Everybody knows about him. Mm-hmm. I've sent pigeons all over the world off him. So everything in what I have now, everything in my loft goes back to him. Everything. Wow. So at the moment, Ray, I use 10 pair pigeons, and then 10 pair are off two pigeons. Granddaughter off the 45 cock, and her grandson. So every pigeon in my breeder is off them 2 pigeons. So off a grandmother and a grandson.
Nice. So they're very close related, then, huh?
They are, Jerry. Yeah.
And for those
I do a lot of inbreeding, lamb breeding.
For those that are viewing right now, if you have good audio and good video, just put a thumbs up for us. Make sure that we got this going. And I'm gonna go ahead and press record on here. I forgot, just in case we lose signal. I'll be able to post it on later, another day or another time.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. So when I went and visit over there, I got to go and spend some time in your loft, and you have the majority of birds you have right there are blue base, as you can see in the background right there. Do you wean out any like recessive reds or ash reds? Do you take that out, or is for the period of time you've been into this family of pigeons, is that basically all you breed, blue base birds?
No, I breed quite a few recessive reds, Jerry. I have 2 now, actually, in my young bird kit. But very, very few of them make the grade. They all roll, but they don't roll to the style that I like, Mm-hmm. Or very few do. Mm-hmm. But after saying that, I mean, my best mate, Charlie Grout, who flies my pigeons, he's flying a red there, what he bred off a pigeon I give him, and it's as good as anything I've seen. It's top class. But over the years, all the recessive reds I've bred, there's only 2 or 3 I've ever used in the breeder. I find with the recessive reds, they tend to be a little bit dangerous, mm-hmm. or a bit weak on the weaker side, Mm-hmm. Or the peregrine takes them. I've had loads taken, by the bird of prey. Wow. Reds. Whether it's because there's only ever 1 or 2 in my loft, my kit, and they stick out more, I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's very rare the last, till the end of the year. Mm-hmm.
Now, your ahead. Setup is super nice there. What is that? Breeding, individual breeding?
No, they're all my kit places behind me, Ray.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if you can see. I don't know. On the top, I have 3 weaning places where. So when I take my youngsters away, they go in. There's no perches in there, and it's all inch by inch wire flooring. Mm-hmm. But I use them as individual cages for my main pairs. So I have normally two pair of pigeons that I use in individual cages that not in my breeding loft, you know. They're away from all the other pigeons, so nothing to get near them.
Yeah.
I've like a father and son the last 2 years. I've used in them weaning places.
Yeah, that's
And I
beautiful.
sort of try and breed as many youngsters as I can out of them 2 cocks.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly how I'm doing my new loft. I'm gonna do my 4 kit boxes, and on top, I'm gonna have those sections on top, and then I'll have me some two breakup pins. But that's beautiful, man. Right there, it's like everything inside that building, and I mean, man.
Everything works perfect for me, Jerry, because I say I have the 3 weaning places, which also, before I have to breed any youngsters, I can breed as individual cages. You know?
Nice.
And yeah, it works out perfect.
Yeah,
And they all on wires with drawers, so I never have to clean them out when I'm flying them. You know, my pet hate is when people fly in pigeons and they're not watching them. You know, they've got to go and scrape the loft out, or I don't do any of that. I can scrape and clean my loft, you know, any time. I don't have to do it while they're flying.
Yeah.
I've built it so that I can watch my pigeons. When you fly rollers, you've got to watch them all the time. It's no good letting them out and then going in and cleaning the loft. You don't know what's happening to them.
Yeah, and then it's you know, it's obviously you release your birds from there. They know where to get out from, and then when they land, how do you get them inside the loft? How do you go by that? By
Through the front doors, Jerry. As soon as my pigeons hit my roof, as soon as they land on the loft top, within seconds they're back in the loft. I have them trained so once they land, they're straight back in the loft within seconds.
And do they get do they get the full feed on the floor first, then you put them in a kit box, or do you?
Yes.
Could you explain how you do that?
Yes, I feed them on the floor, and then I just get a stick and I tap the stick on the floor and they fly into the kit box.
So they're already got it memorized. What kit box do they belong to?
Yes.
Well, there's a big. We never talk about this much, but there's an advantage to feeding them on the floor the way you do. They're easier to watch, for one.
Yes.
You know, and it makes a lot of sense. I'd had a similar loft. Actually, when I first started, and I didn't have a choice. It was just the room that I had to use. And I found that it was just much easier to manage the birds. You know, getting them to come in and out of the door was pretty easy. And feeding them on the floor was a big advantage, I thought, you know, because you could watch it, you know.
Like you say, really, you can see everything what's happening. I don't know. I've been to many lofts where they feed them in the kit places, and there's that many pigeons in the kit. They can't see the bloody comb because it's that small. You know, they can't see the feed.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, I have my shed's like 8 foot, so I have a corridor of 5 foot, and that's where I feed them. So there's plenty of space.
Yeah, and that's something common that most of the flyers out there have it like that, and it just makes sense. I mean, I understand like it's a lot cooler over there versus a lot of the states out here in the United States, but you know, if you could get it just right for the ventilation and all that, that's just the ideal pigeon loft for rollers, I think. You know what I mean? And it's just perfect.
So we're in our summertime now, Jerry, and it's this last week's been quite it's been quite hot. But I have a overhang, a 2 foot overhang on the front of my loft, and it always keeps it nice and cool. I suppose the downside is it is not much. If you want sunshine, you've got to leave the front doors open.
Yeah.
But the overhang stops any snow or rain getting in, and it keeps it nice and cool. The pigeons are never gasping. You know, I go to quite a few lofts where they haven't got that overhang, and the sun gets through there, and the pigeons are all gasping, in the kid place. I never get that.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed right now is like, you don't see dust floating around, you know what I mean? And that
No.
tells me it's well ventilated. And
Yeah,
and as with experience of me going into your loft, you can't smell like poop droppings or anything like that. It smells just like if you're outside,
I'm a firm believer, Jerry, in the more open your loft is, the healthier it is for you and your birds.
Yeah, it's beautiful. How big are those kid boxes, John?
The 4 foot high and 3 foot wide, and probably I think the 34 inches width, from front to back.
From front to back?
Yeah, so my loft's 16 foot. So I have an 8 before foot breeding compartment. Okay. And then these 4 kit places are all 3 foot.
Nice. So 8, what's the total size of the loft?
16 foot by 8.
8 by 16. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's the full width of my garden, Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So I was telling Jerry, I had to move here because where I used to live, there was that many roller flyers. I could never get my birds out.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So me and the wife went looking for a house. We didn't want to move too far away. And when I found this house, I looked over the back fence because it only has a very small backyard. And there was a garage in it. So when we got the guy to show us around the house, I got the key and I went out the back with a tape. And he said to me, "What are you measuring for?" I said, "I want to see if I can get my pigeon loft in the back garden." I said, "If I can't get the pigeon loft in the garden, I don't want the house."
Yeah. That's right.
And the wife looked at him and said, "Yes, he's serious. He's serious."
He's serious.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I moved out because of the pigeons, and I bought the house because I could get my pigeon loft in the garden.
Yeah,
If I couldn't have got the pigeon loft in the garden, I wouldn't have moved here.
No way, huh?
Yeah.
Everything in my life, Ray, it revolves around pigeons.
I hear you. Well, sounds like your wife supports it.
Fun?
Sounds like your wife supports it.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Good.
So let's talk a little bit about your breeding right here, man. How do you select and breed for rollers? What desire, what traits for competition you look for?
Well, Jerry, I don't know if you can remember when you come here and I had a youngster in the old bird team with a dark feather to the side of its tail.
Correct. Yes.
Do you remember the checker?
Yes.
So that's a trait. That dark feather in the side of the tail is a trait I always look for because they always turn out good pigeons. But every stock pigeon I have was picked out the air as a young bird and stocked as a young bird going into a yearling. Mm-hmm. So if you look at my stock book for 40 years, round about 30 or 40 years, I've always picked the best 1 or 2 youngsters I bred that year, and I put them away. In fact, Ray, I've got a youngster now that's that good. I think it's probably as good as you'll ever see in a roller. Mm-hmm. And she's probably only 5 months old, but everybody's told me to put it away. It's that good. So I've decided to put it away.
Smart move, right?
I had a sister to it last year that was as good. And I had 2 friends come round to watch it for the last time. And believe it or not, that pigeon had never made a mistake. And coming into land, it rolled and hit the floor in front of my loft. Oh shit. And it ended up blind in one eye. Yeah. So I put it away to breed off anyway. But Johnny Conradi was here after he'd been judging the Nationals. And he asked me about this pigeon and he asked if he could get a hold of it to have a look at it. And when he went to get hold of it, it flew over his head and got out my shed, and I've never seen it since.
Oh, man.
Oh my God.
So this pigeon this year, I've took notice of what everybody's told me, and I've decided to put it because it's superb. You couldn't get a better roller than what it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So all my stock pigeons are picked out as babies, and when I made them up, they're then yearlings, and that's how I, well, they've got to be special. I only probably pick 2 or 3 at the very most every year.
Every year. Wow. And
every single one of them were picked out as a baby. Every single one of them.
Wow. And
so people, I can't understand when people say, you should wait till the 2-year-old, and that's a load of rubbish. Honestly, that's the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard in my life. I've seen people fly pigeons that's 4-year-old, and they've ended up rolling down at 4-year-old.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees. The only guarantee is if you know your own pigeons.
Yeah. I started looking for the traits that I would like to see in a young bird as early as possible, and I know that's what I want to breed off of. So I'll snatch them up the first year and put them in the breeder loft. And it's been working for me.
That youngster I showed you, Jerry, the checker.
Yeah.
I lent a friend of mine that to breed off last year. So a guy who's been out rollers for 30 years, I lent him a load of pigeons what he picked out of the air to breed off, and that youngster was one of them. And I bred off it this year, and I have a young blue off that checker what you've seen, and it's got the dark feather at the side of its tail, and that young blue is flying in my old bird team.
What color is his eyes?
You know something? I've never looked.
Okay.
Never looked.
Can't see him when he's flying, right?
No, it's because I noticed when a lot of his birds, when I went over there, his good birds that he was picking out had yellow eyes,
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And you know something, Jerry? That's something I never ever look at. But since you left, I started looking at the eyes, and the family I'm working around, most of them do have at least one. A lot of them are bull eye, odd eyes. But a lot of them have got yellow eyes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But something I hadn't noticed until Jerry picked out. Because all I look for is how good they are in the air.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like it was kind of like you had me thinking when you told me about the one dark feather, that you look out, and I was like, man, well, shit, man. Not only they got dark feathers, but they got yellow eyes.
Yellow eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a trait in your birds, right, John?
With a dark feather.
That dark feather. I mean, that's something you notice.
Always has been, Ray. Friends will tell you I can pick birds out in the nest or have the dark feather at the side of its tail, and I can give them the ring numbers as babies in the nest, and I'll guarantee that they'll be good rollers.
Man, everybody's gonna go to their loft and look for the birds with the one dark feathers.
Jerry, that's just my pigeons. I'm not saying it works with everybody's pigeons. That's just my own family.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've been looking at that, and I got a few in my team from last year. They got all white tail with one dark feather, and they spinners, man. I was like, damn, man, maybe this is. I brought this to my loft from John, son.
I see it regular with other people's pigeons here. I go around people's houses and I always find some of their best pigeons are these same type of pigeons. White tail with a dark feather to one side of the tail.
Yeah. Hey, man.
I just thought it was just my own pigeons, in my own family.
Yeah, I was just looking at one today and I was like, damn, man. And it was crazy because I noticed it. And here we are, have you as a guest on the podcast. I was like, man, but I have like 3 of them with one dark feather on there. They're spinners. Yeah.
So John, where do you think that old myth comes from? About flying a bird for 2 years, and I mean, I guess that could have been done a long time ago, but these days, if you can keep a bird 2 years these days in the air. It's really hard, with the birds of prey.
That's right.
where do you think that comes from? You know, just
I think it's something the old timers thought was, the thing to do. But the type of pigeon I keep, Ray, they have to be a bit special. They have to be, to go in a breeder, they have to be special. The pigeons you rarely see. And there's a few people in Middlesbrough, like Dino Foster, Les Bazans, who have their own families, who look for the same. And for me, Les and Dino have had pigeons, we've been flying rollers for 40, 50 years. Right. And we all do exactly the same. If you ask Les, you ask Dino, who fly the best quality pigeons you can get, they all pick youngsters out and put them in the breeder. If they're good enough. If they're good enough, they're old enough. That's my motto.
Yeah. So I think some guys might misinterpret what you're saying here. So you're saying you're flying young birds, and if that bird is nice in the air, you don't care how old.
It's got to be special in the air.
Right. You don't wait for it to get older. Right.
Yeah.
You don't wait for it to get older. You say, it looks fantastic. It's the type of pigeon I like, and I'm pulling it out.
Well, that youngster, he's an example. That youngster I've just been telling you about, what I've put away now, right? The pigeon I told you about, what went blind last year, what flew out over Johnny's head, her sister was the next round last year. So that I put her away. I put the blind bird's younger sister away later on in the year because that was so good. And she bred that pigeon that I've got this year. Wow. So one of the best youngsters I bred last year has bred the best youngster. In fact, it's bred one of the best rollers I've ever seen in my life this year.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, I'm a true believer now that if you pick them as a young bird, then there's no going backwards. Like, you're going forward because what you're looking for, you saw it at an early age within the bird, which means that it could pass it on to the next generation.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So if, like me, I used to be the type where I used to have 5-year-old birds breeding, but I wasn't going forward. So now I just go with young birds. Every year I'll try to take at least 2 hens and 1 cock and put them back in the, if that. I don't try to bring a whole bunch, but the best ones, and I put them back in there, and I'm getting a good percentage of the offsprings off of that. You know what I mean? So it's a good deal, I think.
Well, Jerry, it's not only worked for me; it's worked for some of the best roller flyers I've ever come across. They all do the same thing, nice. And it's worked for them as well. So,
it's good to know, and things like this is good to put it out there, man, because sometimes, like Ray will say, we will hear that you got to go with 2-year-old birds, let them mature, but it ain't always like that, man. You know what I'm saying? And there's people like you guys out there in England that are getting better results for younger birds. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Jerry, you were on the All England Fly, weren't you?
Yes.
The All England Fly is the biggest fly in England, right? Biggest club fly in England.
Yeah.
And there's more people in Middlesbrough won the young bird, the All England young bird, than anywhere else in the country over the last 20 odd years. There's more people in Middlesbrough won the young birds. And it's because our young birds come on a lot sooner than what most other people's do. Because, like you say, we use young birds in the breeder. If you're waiting for pigeons that come on 2 and 3 year old, then you're never going to fly a young bird team. Yeah. Yeah.
My.
See, the thing is, in the All England Ray, young birds is a big thing. We have a young bird fly, and it's the young bird and the old bird are the 2 major flies in England.
Well, I mean, there's something to be, and I like guys to not overlook what you're saying here, because because everything I hear about your birds, and I've seen Tony's birds a number of times, you know, on videos quite a few times, and kind of studied those. And the speed, depth, and the way they kit and fly is perfect to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
to
they've
hear
got
that
to-
from to hear
They've
that
got to
from
do everything that you want them. You know, they've got to
Yeah.
kit. They've got to roll as a, you know, in a team. They've got to do. They've got to be safe when they come into land.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, they've got to. They've got to have everything everybody else wants. But they've got to. You know, we've done it for years, Ray. We've always put young birds in the
Nice.
breeder, always.
And
But I'm talking like, I'm not
oh man, we froze.
I'm not. I don't want to say it by any, but when the people who I've mentioned, like Elizabeth Anson, Dino Foster, and myself, fly some of the best pigeons in the world. You know,
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
I don't say that like I don't want to be, but we were brought up on speed, and you know, speed is the main thing for us.
Mhm.
You know,
So these young birds that we're putting away are exceptional birds. You know, it's
Yeah.
not just anything. They've
Mhm.
got to be exceptional to go in the breed.
yeah.
Right.
And you know what I noticed too, like once I started picking the young birds, the best ones, like they're getting more and more closer related to where like I'm doing, like let's say I pick them out of the polygamy program that I did, and I'll either go half brother, half sister, or back to the dad. But the best ones that I see
Yeah.
at an early age that I pick out, they look the same, man. You know what I mean? The body style, the tightness, you know, and to me, that's
man.
telling me I'm breeding more clones and more just like that because of,
Well,
of
that's
breeding
exactly
from
it.
the young birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know how Ray mentioned that you hear people saying, okay, breed it off of a bird that's flown 2 flight seasons, you know what I mean? They're mature, whatever. But they also say that you want to create a team that have breaking power, but you don't want them to be too deep because that's going to interfere with the breaking of the scoring of the pigeons. You're the other way around. You got some deep, fast pigeons that there's not 1, 2, 3 pigeons that go. You got you go doubles, and they're deep. They have to climb back to the team, but those are pigeons that I was in your backyard saying like, damn man, like everybody says not to do this, and you doing it. Could you explain how is it that you're making that happen with birds that people say you can't compete with deep birds?
Jerry, it's because the family, there are a family of pigeons that are all roughly. I mean, most people fly pigeons from 15 to 20 foot. I think mine are probably go from 30 foot to 40 foot. But it's, you know, the family are bred like that. So they used to flying together when they're all roughly the same length. So they get back together quite easy. But there's not only me. I mean, one of the best kits I've ever seen, me and Moritol, was when we were in South Africa. The best time we ever went to South Africa. Edgar Roscoe flew a kit. I would say every pigeon in that kit he flew were 40 foot. Every pigeon. And they were fantastic. Ferid Katak, another guy who flies really deep pigeons. Both of those have won the World Cup with pigeons that, you know, that's easily 40 foot in depth, easily. So it can be done. You just need that bit of luck.
Wow. That's
In
mean,
fact, Ray, when I judged the World Cup in 2015, Rich Shannon was unlucky because I seen some nice pigeons at his place. But Rick didn't listen to me. I told him not to fly them because it was too foggy, and he'd flown them and they dropped within 2 minutes. But I did see some good quality stuff there, deep quality pigeons.
Yeah.
But apart from them, the only the only kit I seen what the style that I would have brought home with me was Ferid Katak in Serbia, Bosnia, Serbia. You could hear these pigeons rolling above you. You know, they were super fast. But on the day I judged them, they were really poor kitten.
Wow. Wow.
But out of all the kits I've seen in the World Cup, it was only ferrets I would have brought home and flown in because of the depth and the style they had.
In the style. Yeah. Well, that shows what you're like. I mean, that's what you like. That's what you breed for as well, right?
Ray, I'm the same as everybody. I want to win the World Cup, and I want my pigeons to break big. We all want them to break big, and mine do break big. But I get just as much enjoyment. Like tonight, I flew mine tonight, and they flew perfect. They didn't put many big breaks in, but I enjoyed them because of the speed, the quality as individuals. I get just as much pleasure watching them as individuals as what I do when they're breaking big. In fact, sometimes I think I prefer them to be more individual. Not in general, but you know, the odd day I fly them, I like to watch them as individuals. Then I can scrutinise them properly, and I get more enjoyment out of them when they're rolling in as individual, because you get a big break and it's over within a couple of seconds.
Right.
But when you get pigeons rolling fast with speed, you know, and depth, and one rolls and then suddenly that stops, and then another one rolls, and then another one, you're watching 5, 6, 7 pigeons at a time, you know.
Right.
And I enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I totally get it.
Do you
but
go ahead,
Ray.
Go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna say, do you feel that conditioning within a pigeon is very important to where you have them as a fly fit or performance fit? I mean, how crucial is that for you?
Jerry, I showed you how I feed my pigeons. My old birds, I don't know if you remember, at the time you were here, I was feeding them on just peas.
Yes.
I was sieving all the small stuff out. And I get my old birds. In fact, I've just started it this week, flying them again on peas. And I've probably had 4. I've been struggling with them going high. So once mine start getting flown regular, and they get carbs, they tend to go a bit too high. So I take the carbs off them and just feed them on protein. And with my old birds, it keeps them at a height that I like, you know. And then gradually I'll just up the amount I give them. So when I first start them, they look a bit down in the dumps and they look sorry for themselves. But I know they'll always fly the time. No matter how bad they look, they'll always fly, you know. And then gradually I build them up a little bit by giving them, you know, a little. Normally I feed mine 20 pigeons get a can, a bean can. But sometimes I might give them a little bit less. Sometimes I might give them a little bit more. You know, it all depends on how they fly.
Yeah.
I have a few yearlings that could do with a bit more weight on them because they're not used to getting just peas like the old birds do. So sometimes I have to take the yearlings out and feed them a little bit extra, you know, on their own. But once, conditionings that are really, you know, one of the main parts of getting the kit ready.
Yeah,
if they're not conditioned right, they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna perform.
Yeah. I mean, is there a trick you use to get all the pigeons, you know, in the same condition, John? You know how sometimes, you know, birds can some are getting less feed than others. I mean, do you feed
Yes, Ray, I know which pigeons of mine need more food than others. So once they finish the can, then I check I have 2 or 3 yearlings in my kit that I always get hold of and check them. And then I'll lock all the old birds away and give them yearlings a little bit extra. Every night when I feed them, there's certain pigeons that I check to make sure that they've had enough to eat, you know.
Now that's something that that if you're not watching them, you wouldn't even notice, would you? You know.
So every time I feed them, Ray, I throw feed on the floor, but I watch them. So I have a young bird kit. There's one youngster in there that always needs that little bit extra. Well, that shows me because it always runs about the floor, you know, not picking the food up. It's all the rest will be stood there picking the food up, and that runs about. So I always know that needs a little bit extra, and I'll give that a bit extra after I've got them all back in the kit for it.
How is there?
But you realize you get to know the pigeons that. Pardon? You get to know the pigeons that need a little.
Yeah.
A little more.
Say again, Jerry.
No, I was gonna say, is there rest time very important for you to where you see them more active or more ready for a competition? Do you not fly them as much, or how do you feel about that?
See, Jerry, I don't really fly competitions. I only fly in the World Cup these days. I fly in the open fly, my own fly, and I fly in the World Cup, and that's all I fly in now. So I fly my pigeons for me, nobody else. And I'm like a drug addict. I have to watch pigeons every day, so I fly my pigeons every day for me.
Yeah, that's I think a lot of us are that way. You know, it's if I don't see them fly at least once a day, I'm not right all day. So,
Ray, I fly my old birds every day if I can, weather permitting. Every day. Not many people fly the old birds every day, but I do.
Yeah. Now,
and I have little. I can tinker with them if I want a bit more activity out of them. My main problem is the height to fly. My birds like to fly, and if I'm not hard with them on the feed, they'll fly too high, too long. Ideally, I like them to fly no longer than 40 minutes. And as I say, I was telling Jerry there, I've just started them on the peas again 3 or 4 days ago, and I've got them flying at a height that's perfect. And I really enjoy watching them because you can see the quality of them, you know. If they go too high, they just look like anybody else's.
Yeah.
You see them falling out the sky, but you don't see how good they're rolling.
Yeah.
I want them low so you can see the quality of the roll, you know. And as I said before, I get just as much pleasure out of watching them as individuals. I have 20 old birds flying now, Ray. What would most people would put in the breeder? They're that good. There's not a bad roller amongst them. So I want to see them low. I don't want them going. I had a friend here come to watch them the other day, and they were breaking huge, but for me they were too high. You couldn't see the quality. You could see them breaking, and you'd probably give them the breaks, but. It's the quality I like to watch. Yeah. You don't see that when they're too high.
When they're too high, yeah, I totally agree.
So I do struggle to keep them at a good height.
Yeah. Now
I have, like I say, I use the peas and that keeps them down.
Now, how you're housing them right now on the kit box right behind you, are they mixed cocks and hens, or you keep them separate?
No, I fly them cocks and hens mixed. I have tried flying cocks and hens separate, but I haven't got that many pigeons, Jerry, to do that.
So you house them together?
I actually only have. Yeah, I house them together. Ray, yeah, I never have no problems with them mating up. Or if they start laying eggs, they're getting too much food.
Yeah, they feed them too much. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
Something I never ever worry about hens laying because man don't get enough food to start mating up in the kit boxes.
The kid box, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Now, you
And it all was together as cocks and hens.
what year did you judge the World Cup?
2015.
And who was the World Cup champion then?
It was Ted Mann. I think he lives in Reyes region, doesn't he?
Yes.
Or used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ted Mann, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that journey you had of being able to go out and judge the world. Tell us what you saw at 2015. How did you see the birds back then and the places that
You want me
went?
to be truthful, Jerry?
Be very truthful.
Well, I was so disappointed of the quality of what I seen. I was really disappointed. As I was telling Ray, the only pigeons that impressed me for quality was ferret cadaks. They really impressed me. I would have brought them pigeons home and flown them myself. I've seen lots of good working kits. There's a big difference. I hear people say they have quality pigeons, and they do have quality pigeons, but there's a big difference between having quality pigeons and top quality pigeons. I only know probably 12 to 15 people in the world that I'd say fly top quality pigeons. And I've been around the world. I've been to South Africa 6 times. I'm going back in September for the 7th time. I've been to Ireland numerous times. I've been to Holland. I've been everywhere. And I'd say there's probably 15 people in the world that I would say fly top quality rollers. Lots of people fly good quality, big breaking kits, but they're not top notch. They're not the best you can get. Very few people have got them. Very few people.
Yeah.
So Ted Mann's kit was by far the best kit I've seen, by far, as a working team. They done everything what a kit should do. They broke brilliant together. They flew a great pattern, flew a great height, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. And I probably give them more quality and depth than what I should have given, but I done that on purpose because I thought for a kit to beat that, they had to be. I left enough for a kit to beat it on quality and on depth. But I didn't see anything that was good enough to touch it, But I still wouldn't have brought one of them pigeons home with me, not one.
Right.
But as a working kit, they would have took some beating. In fact, they scored that I scored them 600 and something. I think it was 620 or 600, and that's the highest I've ever given a kit of pigeons.
Wow.
But there wasn't one pigeon in there that I would have brought home with me.
So what do you? I don't even know how to ask this question. I mean, what do you think contributes to making a top quality family of pigeons? I mean, I know they have to do it. They have to have the speed and all that. But once you take pigeons and breed out of them.
So if I was watching your pigeons, Ray, or Jerry's pigeons, or anybody else's pigeons, if I seen a bird in that kit that I would take home for myself, I would class that as a top-notch pigeon. So if I would bring them birds home with me, I would say the top-notch, because I won't bring anything less, home.
Yes.
They have to be something special for me to bring here. In my own birds, they just stick out. They stick out in a good team. I say that young bird I've put away this year is better than any old bird I'm flying.
So let's just do this. let's just say you went to raise Loft and you said, man, I need some birds off of you. You take them, right? You got a cock, two hands, or whatever you get. What will you do to start that family and start it strong? What would be the first steps for you? Because I mean, right now,
No,
right
you would
now,
breed young'uns off. You would breed young'uns off them and fly the youngsters. And if you got a youngster that was good enough, you would pay. Say you bred a good young hen, you pay it back to its father, or vice versa. With breed a good cock bird and pay it back to its mother. And then if I bred something good off them, I would put that youngster back. I would put a youngster off them back to the parent again. So I go back 2 generations,
so you're
I keep the blood as close as I can.
more of a inbreeding, huh?
Yeah. So you look to keep that trait as close as you can to the pigeon that you started with. So I have the hen I've been using for the last 10 years. I've put her back to lots of her sons, her grandsons, and now I have a loft full of her offspring,
Nice.
But every one of them were picked out of the air.
Right.
What? How many pairs is enough, and how many pairs is too much for you?
Well, for me, Jerry, 10 pairs is ample. I think anything after 10 pair, then you're struggling. You don't know what you're doing. You can manage 10 pair. I used to only use 8 pair, but I use a few pair feeders as well. I have 4 or 5 pair feeders. Well, I think 10 pairs is a good amount. It's easy to manage.
And you practice open loft or individual?
So my first round, they all locked up in the cage until they lay eggs, and then I open the cages, and so 8 pair in open loft after the first round. But I have 2 pair that are in individuals.
What's your oldest bird that you're breeding from right now?
Funny enough, it's my main cock now, and he's 9-year-old. Well, he'll be 9-year-old next year. He's 8 now.
Nice. And then
normally my cocks, Jerry, are finished around about 8 or 9-year-old.
Okay. And how many rounds would you go within those 10 pairs or 8 to 10 pairs? How many offsprings do you like or prefer to breed out?
Well, I normally get 80 rings, and I try to use the 80 rings up. I say I use 4 or 5 pair feeders. But my main 2 cocks, I try not to let them bring any youngsters up. I try and float all their eggs.
Foster. Yeah.
So sometimes I'll give eggs away off my pairs in my breeder, so I can put my main 2. I'll what's the word? I like to use anything as feeders for my main 2 cocks. So even some of my best pigeons, I'll give their eggs away to people, and I'll use them as feeders. If I haven't got nothing else, I can put my main 2 pair under. I try to get as many youngsters as I can out of these 2 cocks.
What's your percentage right now as what you produce of good rollers? They just say you breed 60 a year. Out of those 60, and within the way you've bred your program so tight, what's the percentage of good performers that you get out of there? And out of those good performers, what's the percentage of good producers that you get out of there that you could throw back in the loft and they'll give you the same?
I get a really high percentage of good rollers, Jerry. I generally lose about this year. I've lost 19 youngsters. So if I breed say 80 pigeons, I'll probably lose 20 every year off the loft top, or the York will take them, or so that'll leave me 60. Then I give a few away, but I normally end up with, at the end of the year, there's probably 5 or 6 pigeons that they haven't made it. You know, they're not rolling, or but I get a really high percentage of pigeons that roll, really high percentage.
Do you lose
Very few. I get very few roll downs, and I get very few pigeons that don't roll. You know, I'm not saying they're all good, but very few of them are poor quality.
Do you lose many to the birds of prey, John? Sorry.
Only in the winter. If I fly them in the winter, about 12 years ago, I used to get hammered by the peregrine because it was nesting close to me. But that's died off now. So at the moment, I don't really get bothered by the peregrine so much. It's the sparrowhawk that annihilate. And believe it or not, the sparrowhawk's worse than the peregrine.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do with the sparrowhawk. I mean, it catches them in the air and it flies over the roof, and you've lost them. You can't find it. The peregrine, we fire rockets and we chase the peregrine off, with rockets sometimes. But there's nothing you can do with the sparrow. But I don't really get hammered like I used to. Say 10 or 12 years ago, I probably got hit by the peregrine more than anyone in Middlesbrough. Now I probably get it least than anybody else.
Wow. So that shows you
and roundabouts.
Yeah, that shows you how time changed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even here in the United States, there's an ebb and flow for every guy, I think. So, you can go from losing 1 or 2 birds a year to losing a bird every time you let a kid out, so.
It's the same with the guys in Australia. They're the same. When I was there, Australia got it more than anybody else I'd seen.
Wow.
Do you fly year round, or is there a time that you lock up, or how does your flying season?
I retired this year, Jerry, and my aim was to fly pigeons all year round. But the sparrowhawk put a stop to that. There's about 3 months where you've got to stop flying, otherwise the sparrowhawk will just wipe you out.
Wow.
Before I retired, I used to have to lock them up just because of work. I was going to work when it was dark, coming home when it was dark. So I could only fly them on a weekend, which is pointless, really. So in the winter months, we've got to lock them up because either of the work, because of the darkness, or the sparrowhawk. The sparrowhawk's become a real pain in the ass. The last few years.
I like how your birds in the background, they're just very mellow. You don't see them jumping around from perch to perch. They're just calm. You know what I mean? Good temperament.
They're flapping about and they're doing I can't hear you.
Good temperament in those birds in the background.
John, let me ask you a question, because I hear a lot of guys.
They are calm.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of guys talk specifically about Burkett's. A lot of guys overseas. I think I've asked someone from overseas this question before, and I still didn't get the answer when we walked away. Who exactly is Burkett, and what does that family go back to?
Well, Ian Burkett's pigeons go back to my best friend, Peter Harper. That's what started the Burkett pigeons. Me and Peter grew up together as kids when we were 4-year-old. And he actually only lives 500 yards from where I live now.
Oh, okay.
But Peter Harper's pigeons is what started Burkett's.
Okay.
And Peter's birds come from a guy called Frank Pickles. I used to be in the same club as Frank Pickles in the early 80s.
Wow. So you guys are
That's where Burkett doesn't have pigeons now. He sold them all. I think Austin Fox bought them all.
wow. And how about
But,
Bazan?
Ian Burkett never flew a pigeon for 10 years, as far as I know.
Not for 10 years, huh?
He was just breeding them and selling them and not flying anything. I don't know why. In fact, I think I was probably the last guy to judge his pigeons. I judged them in the All England in 2002, I think it was. And I don't think he ever flew after that.
And that was it. He just
not as far as I know.
stopped flying. Wow.
I must have been that bad of a judge.
That can't be it. Oh shucks. And how's Les Bazant's doing? You ever see him, John?
Yeah, I was up his house. I was up Les a fortnight ago with we had Dave Lister here from Australia. He was judging our qualifiers probably 3 weeks ago, and I took him up Les to see Les. And Les flew. I think he flew 3 young bird kits for us.
Wow.
He's doing. He's had cancer. He's been getting treated for cancer, and he's doing well. He's looking well.
Well, good. If he isn't watching this and you see him again soon, tell him I said hello, and I'm happy to hear everything's working out. So
yeah, he's doing fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
He'd actually be a good lad to get on here because he never shuts up talking.
Do you medicate your pigeons to, I don't know, keep them healthy, or what? How do you maintain your birds to be in good health?
Jerry, I vaccinate them every year. Every pigeon in my loft, young and old, get vaccinated for PMV because I've had that 2 or 3 times over the years.
Oh, okay.
I use Secoxy worm canker every year, but now I don't. I try to keep away from it all, and I only medicate if I have to.
Okay.
So this year, out of 80 pigeons, I bred 1 bird that had canker, but it was the last round, so I just killed it. I try to keep away from medication if I can.
Yeah.
Apart from vaccine, I always vaccinate them.
How about vitamins or electrolytes and stuff like that?
I'll give them multivits and stuff in the water every now and again. I use cider vinegar quite a lot. But that's about it, really.
And how about grit? Do you grit?
And obviously, I give them minerals and grit.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
And in fact, now I have grit there. If they need it, the flying birds can even have the grit. A lot of people don't like giving flying birds grit. Well, I have it there, and if they need it, they'll go to it, you know. So I use black minerals in my breeder and the peck blocks and grit. And my flying birds can have grit if they need, if they need it.
Do you feel that a bird could, like, do you feel that you could load them up with grit and still fly them and them do great, like just say prior to a fly?
Yeah, you've got to be careful, because I think if you keep birds hungry, I think they use grit to fill the crops up, Oh
yeah.
A few times I've got older birds, as Ray was saying before, when you're checking birds to see if they've had enough to eat. I've checked them a few times and I thought, that's got more grit in it than what it has, feed. So you've got to be careful, yeah.
One of the things I want to touch bases with you is, I want to know how you feel, or which one do you prefer more, which one you like and why, is the way that you guys judge your All England fly versus the World Cup fly. I mean, you've got to judge the World Cup, and you've got to judge the way you guys judge over there. Which one do you like better, and why?
Well, it's funny. It's funny that, Jerry, because years ago I used to think the World Cup rules were a joke, and now I'm the opposite. I think the English rules are a joke. I prefer the World Cup rules.
Oh.
I think both rules have the good things and the bad things. I just think if you look, everybody around the world now uses the World Cup rules, and I think the World Cup rules make your birds kit better. We can have problems here in England because they'll still mark the kits if they break up. It's a pathetic rule. It's a joke, to be honest. So what they do is they mark the biggest kit. If the kit's split up, so that you mark the biggest kit, which to me is a joke. I brought a rule in a few years ago where if the birds went less than 15, you stopped scoring them until there was at least 15 birds in the kit. Because the rules say you fly 15 to 20 birds. But in the English rules, if they split up, you could judge 8 birds. Yet the rules say you can only judge from 15 to 20. But they still allow you to judge the biggest kit. And if that's under 15, you can still, it's going against the rules, really. I think the only problem I have with the World Cup rules is the 2 out birds. I like the rule, but there is times where I've seen judges, and to me they weren't out birds, and they haven't scored breaks because they classed them as out birds. But
yeah,
I didn't think that they were out birds.
Yeah,
and I think that's a bit of a grey area because everybody has a different opinion what an out bird is. So. I think both rules have the good points, and they both have the bad points as well. But I now prefer the World Cup rules, to be honest.
Yeah. Now
I think it gives you I think the World Cup. Sorry, Jerry, but I think the World Cup rules gives a bigger scope for quality. In the English rules, it's based on 200 points, and they say it's based on basically 10 points per bird. You fly 20 birds, you can only get 200 points. But in the World Cup rules, you've got from 0 to 2. And that's one of the reasons I decided. I know you asked me last year to do this, Jerry, and I didn't want to do it because I thought it was a bit complicated. But I listened to Ken Billins. And Ken Billins spoke a lot of sense. Ken Billins, I think he keeps the type of pigeon that I like, and the rules. He went into the rules, and I agreed with him. I have a lot of respect for him. I think the way he described the rules and everything was spot on, and that's what made me do this tonight. After listening to his podcast, he spoke a lot of sense. So yeah.
So what you're saying is that you think the podcast is doing good, then, huh? Delivering the messages, huh? The podcast is doing good with delivering good messages.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've listened to most of them, and there's lots of it I don't agree to.
Right.
But when I listened to Ken's, I agreed with everything. There was nothing I didn't disagree with. It's.
Yeah.
We're probably going to have Ken back on now.
Yeah.
But I just think he likes the same type of pigeon what I like, Ray.
Yeah.
He's not bothered about them. I mean, to me, there's nothing more boring than kits breaking huge if they're not putting anything into it, And I know Ken's that type of person. He prefers top quality rollers,
Yeah.
Well, he's a what I call a true roller man. I mean, he's got mad knowledge and he puts it in, and he applies it.
And
he
you know,
thinks-
Jerry, you can tell that, you know, when you listen to him, you know the type of guy he is, the type of pigeon he likes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I enjoyed his listening to his podcast.
yeah, he is.
Awesome.
Yeah, but
Awesome.
what was I gonna say? So who do you feel that? Okay, let's talk about how do you feel about your guys' World Cup. You know, you got Danny Galarza out there. Props to Danny for going around and judging. But how'd you feel about the flies out there that you witnessed?
Well, I only really seen one, which was Mark O'Neill's. I seen 3 in Middlesbrough, but the wind absolute. In fact, Jerry, I think one of the guys in Middlesbrough had a real good chance of winning it. Don't know if you've seen his birds, young Danny Pickering.
Mhm.
I don't
He's
think
probably flying. He's probably flying the best old bird kit in England at the moment. They're so consistent. He's been winning for the last 2 or 3 years with them.
Wow.
And I think he had a chance of winning the World Cup this year, but the wind he had was horrendous. Really, really bad. I mean, the 3 lads who qualified in Middlesbrough, Dan said at the time they had the worst weather out of everybody. So you didn't really get to see. I mean, apart from Danny's put a good show on actually to see how bad the weather was. Well, the other 2 lads, the birds just got blew away in the wind. So it was you couldn't really judge them.
Yeah, I see. I give props to South Africa right now is killing it. You know what I mean? And props to them. And who knows? They might. It looks like they might take it again, second year. You know, back to back. Do you feel that from when the last time that you visit South Africa, they've stepped it up?
Well, do you know something, Jerry? Rion, the guy who's in the lead now, for me, he's the most consistent flyer in South Africa. I've been to South Africa 6 times, and every time I've been to South Africa, Rion's. In fact, when I judged the World Cup in 2015, I'm not sure if I told you this, but I actually thought the South African birds had gone backwards. I thought they're so keen to win the World Cup. The quality of the birds wasn't as good as what it used to be.
Mhm.
I was the first person to praise the South Africans on how good quality birds they were flying. But when I went in 2015, there was probably only Rion Kruger's, and he didn't qualify, but he flew a kit for me, you know, just for something for me to watch. And these were probably the best kit I've seen over there. But Rion always flies, you know, a real nice big breaking team. He's a good pigeon man, is Rion.
Props to him.
But yeah, personally, I was when I was there in 2015, I was disappointed on the quality of the birds over there. It'll be interesting to see what I see in September when I go in September, because me and Charlie Grout are going over there to judge their nationals.
Oh, nice.
I think it's the 7th of September.
Nice.
And I know that I'll judge what I see. So it'll be interesting to, you know, to judge them against how I thought they were like in 2015.
Yeah.
But in 2015, all the times I've been there, they were probably the worst I'd seen.
Well, now,
And I've seen some real top.
now you're retired, man. You plan to put into to judge the World Cup again?
I would do it, but it's. I don't know if I could leave the wife now for 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting a bit old now, Jerry. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I hear you.
Not sure.
3 months is a long time, so
Yeah, it is really. Yeah.
it's a long time.
Well, you get to come and visit us, man. That'll be bad.
Well,
That'll
yeah,
be nice.
I loved it in America But what I was going to say, Ray, is people don't realise how stressful it can be judging this World Cup.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I don't know if you know about it, but halfway through it, I refused to go any further. I was going home, and I stopped judging it halfway through and told them I'd had enough. I was going home. I was that stressed.
He was that stressed, huh?
Yeah.
Lots
of things happened to me when I was over there. Pardon?
Was it the airports or what?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
everything was the airport, though,
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah.
I mean, I had some real bad experiences over there.
Well, I can honestly tell you that's gotten better. So
Yeah. Yeah.
But
like I said, it's a lot of work, man. I give props to whoever goes out there and judge. You know what I mean? It's it could get stressful. You know what I mean?
The worst thing for me, Jerry, was in America, because you all live so far away. I wasn't seeing enough pigeons. Some days I would probably only see one kit if I was lucky.
Yeah.
Where in South Africa and like England, especially in Middlesbrough, we all live so close to each other. Yeah. See, in Middlesbrough, I don't know if you know, but I could take you to see probably 40 roller flyers, and none of them live more than 5 miles away from me.
Oh, they smoke.
Yeah, you can actually. Just before me and Jerry started this tonight, I was watching a kid from my house. A guy probably 200 yards from me was flying a kid. So I was sat out the back watching these pigeons from my back. Yeah.
Wow.
So I could see right now. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, right now in England it's what 8 o'clock or maybe 8:20, somewhere around there. And if you could see the light,
something like that, Jerry.
Huh?
Oh, it's still light here till nearly 10 o'clock.
If you guys could see, it's the light. So, I mean, you say the light, the sun stays up till 10 o'clock?
Well, not till 10 o'clock, but I know Charlie Grout flew a kit of pigeons last night and dropped them after 10 o'clock.
Damn.
Oh.
Wow.
And it was still light.
Lots of us will put them out at 9 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we can drop them, and it'll still be light, before you get them down.
Now, what time does the sun come up?
About 4 o'clock in the morning.
Jeez. Man, you could fly all day, man. I'm with 20 hours or something.
Jerry, a few years ago, we had some South Africans staying at my house. One of the legends in South Africa, he's died now. But Evan K, I don't know if you've heard of his name, but
I've heard of it.
Believe me or not, he's one of the people who all the South Africans have got to look up to how far they've come this, now. It's all through Evan. But Evan was staying at my house and he went to bed probably around about 10:30, and it was just getting dark. And when he got up on the morning, he said to me, "Does it ever get dark here in England?" I said, "Yeah, when you were asleep." I said, "Yeah, when you were asleep, it's dark."
Jeez. So how does like the barometer affect the time of day, or is it good? Are you good to fly 4 o'clock in the morning? That'll be the same in the evening. When do you prefer to fly at this time of the year where the sun's out more, or you get more daylight?
Well, if I wasn't talking to you, Jerry, now I'd be flying pigeons. Now is the perfect time to be flying them.
Oh, okay.
Well, I fed all mine up because we were doing this, so I flew them earlier on today.
Nice.
But now is the perfect time to fly.
Nice.
Probably any time after 7:30 up till 9 o'clock is probably the best time. And lots of people fly first thing on the morning.
Oh, first thing, okay. Yeah. Hey, one thing I'm curious about is your guys' feed over there, is it getting more expensive nowadays, or how costly is the feed over there?
Everything is going up in price, everything. And pigeon feed's gone up again. Yeah, yes, it's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing here, man. A few years back, it was $13 a 50-pound bag of wheat, and now it's almost close to $30. It's crazy.
What's that, Jerry? Is that a 50 kg?
50-pound of wheat.
50 pound.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got the mixes.
All our bags come in 20 kgs.
Okay. Yeah.
But I can go to a farm and buy a bag of wheat for probably £6, which is about, well, I don't know, it's about $12 or something. But it's only 20 kg.
Okay. How when you see that you get your best performance within your birds, how far apart do you give them from being fed? I mean, do you keep the same feeding time all the time, or do you stretch it out a little bit? What works for you with that, with the feed?
Ideally, Jerry, I'd like to stretch it out. I mean, I base it on 24 hours, but I would prefer to stretch it out a bit longer.
Okay.
So my birds are strong flyers. I mean, if I go a couple of hours after the feed, they'll fly. Still fly.
Mhm.
So I always base it on 24 hours. So I'd fly them tonight. Say I was flying them at 7 o'clock, and they come in, say 8 o'clock. I'd feed them, and then I'd do exactly the same, the next night. But
Yeah.
I'd prefer to go a little bit longer if I could.
Okay.
So I might fly them, like one day a little bit earlier, get them in and feed them 2 hours, and then drag it out the next night so that they've gone like 26 hours instead of 24.
Mm-hmm.
Get them a little bit more lighter, you think?
A little hungry.
Pardon, Jerry?
Is that because you prefer them to be a little lighter, or
I just think it makes them stay that little bit lower because they've gone over the time.
Mhm.
They won't be so keen to go so high.
Oh, okay. Kind of like, so you're breaking them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you did mention earlier. I mean, you adjust your feed based on how they flew
How to fly, yeah.
the last time. So yeah.
So what I do, Ray, normally is I feed them on a bean can.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, my old birds are just on peas, nothing else but peas.
Mm-hmm.
And if they look as though they're gonna, they want to go a little bit higher, when they come in, I'll only give them 3/4 of that can.
Okay.
And then the next time I fly them, it tends to bring them to exactly where I want them.
Where you wanted to be.
I can actually tell that. I can watch them and I know that they want to go. They don't always go, but I can tell the way they fly. The slightest bit of corn or a bit of food, and they would go up,
Yeah.
And I can tell by how they fly,
Wow.
So I prefer to have them a little bit more on the hungry side. So I like to go over 24 hours if I can.
Now, do you feed your young birds differently than your old birds?
Yes. My young birds are on a mix. What I do myself, which is probably 70% wheat, and then a 30% protein mix. I mix together.
Mm-hmm. Now, when do you make the change on the feed from that to when do you make the change on what you're feeding them?
When they go in with my old birds, yeah. If I put young birds in with my old birds, then that's when they change over.
That's when they change. Okay.
Yeah. So if I leave that kit together for a full year, they'll just get my own mix. Mm-hmm. But once they go in with the old birds, then they go on the same feeders. And the old birds, mainly I fly them on peas. Mm-hmm. I find with my pigeons, peas work better than anything else.
Yeah. Wow.
And do you on the older birds, do you tend to fly them daily or
yes, I fly my old birds every day, weather permitting, Jerry. every day.
Nice.
As I say, I don't fly them in competitions apart from the World Cup. I fly them for myself to enjoy. So I just want to fly them every day and enjoy them as much as I can.
Nice. That's it. That's pretty good. I mean, like, I know that you know, you probably have some, doesn't get too hot out there to where you don't burn them out as much. Like right here where I'm at, it's super hot, man. So I only fly them twice a week, you know.
The thing is, Jerry, I mean, I fly mine every day. I fly all my pigeons every day, but I can only fly my old birds every day if they only fly in 40 minutes. Obviously, if they're flying an hour or over an hour, then I can't fly them every day. But I have control over them where they only fly in sort of, the most I get is 45 minutes out of them. You know? But if they started flying for an hour or 2 hours, then I couldn't fly them every day.
Yeah.
But I never let them get to that stage where they used to do years ago. They don't now. I've learned how to control her.
Since go ahead.
Do they ever get?
But sorry about Ray, but just saying there, Jerry, you'd be surprised how many people in Middlesbrough, especially the top flyers, who do fly the old birds every day. Keith Story, who's won the World Cup, he flies his old birds mainly daily. Colin Bailey, another top flyer, he flies his daily.
Nice.
Little Danny Pickering, who I told you is flying probably the best kit in England at the moment, flies them daily.
Wow.
Because they all have, you know, they're not flying too long. So you can do it. It's just you have to have control over them, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're flying 2 and 3 hours, you can't fly them every day.
Yeah, I have them flying 2 days out of the week, but in those 2 days, even right now in the hot weather, I fly them like at 5:15 in the morning.
Yeah,
They'll give me an hour, 10 minutes each kit. You know what I mean? And for 2 days, that's probably, you know, good enough to make up for the days they don't fly. You know.
See, that's what I find with mine, Jerry. If I only fly them 2 or 3 times a week, I lose any control I have over them. I like to get them in a routine where they fly the same height every day, the same time every day. Once I get them, and the main thing is, like tonight, I watched them tonight, and I knew I've got them where I want them, because tonight's the first time where they've all hit the shed at the same time when they're coming into land. So last night, they flew a good height last night, but they've sort of landed in two groups, you know, if you know. Tonight, they all landed at the same time. They all hit the shed at the same. So now I know I've got them where I want them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
When they start flying, when they're coming into land, and some 5 or 6 land, and then the rest keep on flying around, I know I haven't got them, you know, right. But tonight, every one of them landed as soon as I shook that corn, that tin, they all come down onto the shed at the same time. So I know I've got them somewhere near where I need them.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like when I fly my birds right now, there's only 2 times a week. The first day they'll even split up to 2 little teams, you know, and then one will land early, the next one, the second day they'll do a lot better. But I noticed like if I was to fly them, and by the fourth day, I'll have them where I need them. You know what I mean? They'll fly together, slow, low, and good. But it takes time, you know, to know. I mean, everything is a big part of it. You know, the diet, the rest, everything. But
and every family of pigeons are different, Jerry.
Yeah.
You know, what works for my pigeons probably doesn't work for everybody else's.
When's the last time you brought something into your loft?
I used the N off George Mason probably 20 years ago.
Oh wow!
Maybe.
Nice.
But I gave a friend the youngsters. The youngsters had a fault that I didn't like. They'd land on the loft, And when they were coming into the loft, they'd roll off the loft onto the floor. I've seen it at George's quite often, but I didn't put up with that. I give a friend, and but George's was the last, probably 20 years ago.
Nice. Well, right now,
But I only use that. I only use that because the cock I was using, my main cock, was getting old, and I wanted to put something new into him before it was too late, you know.
Yeah, nice. Well, right now,
the guy who I give the pigeons to done well with them. He won the nationals with pigeons through them. So he done really well with them, you know. And maybe I should have stuck it out a bit longer, but
yeah.
I just couldn't put up with the fault.
So Tony had to went and visit you and was very impressed that he went ahead and imported some of your birds and won the World Cup with them, you know.
Well, believe it or not, Jerry, I was sending Tony some more pigeons over this year. But with, I don't know if it was COVID or not COVID, sorry, the bird flu. We've had bird flu bad over here, and we couldn't get the birds over to him. And in the end, I had to give a friend of mine them.
Oh, okay.
But I was sending birds over to him this year again.
Nice.
But yeah, Tony done me a favour, and he come over and judged our World Cup qualifiers. So to return the favour, when he asked me for some pigeons, I sent him some birds over there. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Nice. Well, listen, man. We're gonna come close to the end of the podcast, but right now, if you can, you know, you're right there in your loft. Could you give us a little quick loft tour and let us know, just to show us the layout of your loft? You know, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys interested right now in what you got going on right there.
What do you want me to do? Just walk around with the phone?
Yeah. Just. Well,
There we go. It's moving.
What? Just like? Can you see?
Yeah. We see there you go. Nice. So that's your breeders right there, huh?
And these are all my ends. That's just that in, you know, my breeding ends.
Nice.
So the last. See that little black in the corner, Jerry?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see the little black in the top corner?
Yes, we can.
And there's the little hen I bred off it this year.
Nice.
Can you see that one?
Yeah.
Yes, we
can.
can.
So next year, I want a lot full of that look like that.
Nice.
So that's my breeder, and these are my kip places.
Beautiful.
So 4 kip places along the bottom. And these are my weaning. So these are the last 9 youngsters I have to get up in the air this year.
Oh, okay.
They're just going around the roofs now.
Nice.
And then I have this kip place that's a bigger kip place.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's nice and open too, huh?
Yeah.
So all the kip places with perches in have 1.5 inch wire at the bottom. And then my weaning places, I don't have perches in there, and I just use inch by inch so they can stand on it better.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So, John, do they have drawers underneath all of them?
Yeah, everything has drawers. Even my cages have drawers, Ray.
Oh, okay. The breeding cages too. Okay.
My cages as well, yeah, they all have drawers.
Wow. Nice.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for the tour.
Do you know how much work that cuts out on then? You just pull each jar and empty them out.
Yeah.
Man, that cuts on the work big time.
Pardon?
having the drawers.
It's everything makes is easy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we want to say thank you for coming up on here and being a guest on the podcast, John Wanless. Is there any word of advice that you got for the viewers, for the guys that are starting in this hobby?
Well, the best advice I can give anybody is to do what you've done, Jerry, and get around and see different people's beds. It's no good just sat at home watching your own. You've got to get round there and see what's out there. You know, I have lots of respect for everybody who travels around, goes to different countries, go and watch different people's beds. That's the main thing. There's lots of good stuff out there. You've just got to get out there and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Perfect.
Chucks, I'd like to get to those 15 guys that you're impressed with.
Well, I don't mind mentioning the names, but I can.
Yeah. You're gonna have to send us the list.
I know. We got a comment that says, what are the names of those guys?
Well,
yeah, but
I'll mention them. I don't mind mentioning them, but it's
yeah, no, it's I know you've seen some great kits out there, and we appreciate you, like I said, coming up here and sharing some of the stuff you shared with us, and just want to thank you. And anything else you got, Ray?
No, John, thank you. It's really nice to meet you, and we really appreciate you coming on. You shared a lot of good information with us. Even got rid of some old myths that we were, set on. So thank you very much.
The thing is, Ray, when we were talking about, obviously, I think you talked the stock pigeons, the young birds using some of the best flyers in the world have been doing that system for 20, 30 years, and it's worked for them. So
it works. Yeah. But thank you so much, and I wanted to say happy birthday to the World Cup champ Richard Hayes, man. Happy birthday, Richard Hayes.
Happy birthday, Rich.
Happy birthday, Rich.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Rich. And Jerry, let me mention we have our roller form. I should have did this last time we had the podcast, but we have our roller forum coming up, which is our regions get together that we do every year, and it's on the 26th. It's going to be here at my place in Stanwood, Washington.
Nice.
So if you're interested in coming, just show up, man. We're going to eat and talk a little business, bird out all most of the day. And maybe even drink a little beer. I don't know.
Nice.
Some of you may not be able to do that, but I'll be home. So
get yourself there, Rich.
Yeah,
right.
I want to thank you guys, and thanks the viewers, and hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. And till the next one, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.